I am watching you watch me, with light carried by voice gentle, voice soft, voice to call all my world of sound, of sight.
Bahloo, I have turned round the sun, turned into you, left as much of my blood into the soil as my blood is the soil.
In a tree hollow above the stars, these crowded earths press against the other, as they always do, are flown between in hum, in core, in gahar, in spirit shard, as you teach, in and against me where I am never as small as I remember.
Where I might wake cold, might wake quiet, might carefully make the life I don't get, the home I don't know.
Or I can choose something else, and be it or not, but always answer the voice.
Always I will be yours and carry yours.
Sing it back, slip like crescent and wane, like fingers in my hair, like blood gift to soil, like you made a star in her that mapped me to myself.
Bahloo,
I am at the edge of your light, and I thank you for your dew, for your pale face, and for how you dance upon the river, and for how you follow me.
Hi guys, welcome back to Lady Hippies. I'm Miss Z.
And I'm Miss B.
And today we are going to be unpacking the impactful poem Bahloo, written by Evelyn Arlen from the collection Drop Bear. First of all, this poem is dedicated to Auntie Gloria Matthews. She is a large figure in their community, and she was known for helping out children in education, and it was really clear that she made a really big impact on Evelyn as she wrote this poem about her.
This poem is very connected to outer space and the galaxies, which is about how after her auntie passed, she can see her up in the stars and how she is really all around her. She sees herself finding herself in the land, as well as finding herself and who she is, part of the family, not just her blood-related family, but everyone in her community.
Adding on to that, there is a lot of connection to land due to the spiritual involvement of the Gamma Ray mythological character who embodies the essence of the moon, Bahloo. And that really reveals a lot about the culture and, of course, Aboriginal storytelling, as well as her childhood and what Auntie Gloria Matthews may have taught her, who she might resemble in her life as she has passed on now.
And I also see throughout this poem is how she's made of little bits of everything else that is part of her, how she's only the edges of a light, and how she's only bits and pieces, and she is built up solely from everywhere she is made of, since she has come from so many different places, not just one community. And also throughout the poem you can also hear she is more coming into her voice, how she is more finding herself throughout. You can feel her trauma coming out, her sadness of this passing going on, and how during the beginning she lost what she thought was her only piece of the land that connected her to it, as her family did, as her close immediate family did move to Western Sydney, which isn't as connected to her land as she is, yet how she is finding it, and how at the end she how the community that she found, that Gloria Matthews helped her found, followed her back to her new home in Sydney.
The poem also is about life and death due to a lot of literal and metaphorical lines about blood in the soil, speaking to the spiritual aspect, the literal aspect, and also the cultural aspect, as in giving back to the land and how they think about death. There's not a specific heaven for them, it's more of a land of the dead, and I think there was something called the Skyland, which sort of delves into the poem when she talks about in the stars and how Gloria has made a star in her that has shaped Evelyn to be who she is today.
My overall interpretation is how this poem is a dedication to Auntie Gloria, obviously, but it's also a commemoration and to acknowledge everything that she truly did give to her, how she not only gave her a voice, and as you can see in the I am never as small as I remember, she showed her a different perspective to see what she actually looks like from an outer point of view. She also gave her connections back to her land, and overall, even as she passed, with her passing, she found that she has connections to the land, and how she finds Auntie Gloria in so many more ways, and how in the end, Auntie Gloria has followed her home in some way.
My final interpretations of this poem are the cultural and spiritual aspects within the Aboriginal community, as well as how Bahloo plays a part in her life, not only as a creature from storytelling, but also as this essence of the moon, which embodies the spirit of who she's seen Auntie Gloria Matthews in through her helping children with education and giving back to the community.
Now let's hop into somewhere warmer.
So the themes from this really stem from a lot. It stems from her place of identity and the culture, because her dad came from the Bundjalung people, yet her mum came from Western Sydney, and growing up they lived in Western Sydney, which was not as close of a connection as land as she would have liked to be, which you can see throughout the poem, because she didn't necessarily get to grow up with these Dreamtime stories, nor get to really see them in all of their beauty because of the difference and how, and this is more with Bahloo, although she found Dreamtime later in life, how it brought her back in and gave her that connection.
Yeah, so the storytelling in this poem is really clear in that, you know, Bahloo is one of those Dreamtime stories that she was taught. And you can see that it's a creature that gives her good memories, and she attributed it to Gloria Matthews, who was a very large figure in her life and did a lot of amazing things for the people in her community.
You can see a lot of this with how she reconciles, yet with this reconciling, she's still, as she quotes, "I'm only edges of the life." She's going back to her land and getting the land back. But with that, you can also see how with getting the land back, she's also getting the knowledge back, because even though this line is at the end of the poem, she still only is edges of it. This is because as First Nations people believe very strongly that they do not own the land and that their land is their own and they are just living on it and borrowing from this, and this is shown as she's just edges of it. Like, although she's in the land, she's only ever going to be on the sideline, because no one can truly be a part of their land.
I think something really significant about this poem as well is that it revolves around this spiritual aspect, and I think something about like Aboriginal culture in the modern day is that there is a lot of loss of culture, and you know, a lot of these children now may have not heard stories about Bahloo, so the fact that she is bringing it into a contemporary and modern sense through, you know, poetry and her collection of Drop Bear, I think that's really special.
With the colonization aspect, she also talks about how many have died. This is connected also to how they are living later, but also the blood in the soil, because of how many First Nations people have been killed off.
Within this poem, there is an ongoing motif and theme of planets and that idea of otherworldly creatures, which signifies the spiritual aspects, and you can see that in the lines, "I've turned round the sun," "You made a star on her," and "Above the stars." She personifies the moon, such as "Pale face," "Dance upon the river," and "Follow me home." I took this as Evelyn relating back to her dedication to Gloria Matthews, is how, you know, your pale face, how you dance upon the river, how you follow me home. She's sort of haunting her. It's this essence of the moon that just can't be escaped. And also the line, "How you follow me home," I feel like really resonates with that feeling of as a child when you're sitting in the backseat of the car and you can see the moon on the corner of your window and you think that it's following you home. It kind of gives a sense of, it might be distant but you're never really far away from it. Relating back to, you know, her connection to the spiritual and cultural aspects of Aboriginal community. Also uses the line "crowded earths," which I think creates a sense of suffocation and asphyxiation within, you know, she feels like she can't really connect with other people in the Western world, and there's that sense of disparity between the two worlds as she is, you know, in these crowded earths that press against each other as they always do. I really like the line, the three lines, "Blood in the soil," "Blood is the soil," and "Blood gift to soil," because I think while they have, of course, the blood, soil element, it changes with in, is, and gift. I feel like blood in the soil kind of, it explains the tangible and literal expression of death. Blood is in the soil. and that idea of, you know, decomposing, literally, blood is in the soil. And then blood is the soil. There's that more spiritual concept that Aboriginal land is very special to them, and when they do pass, their blood goes back to the soil. And then the last line, blood gift to soil, which is going back to a much larger idea, connecting back to the land and giving back to how much the land has given to them. In the line, I am never as small as I remember, she adds a pause, which I feel like it changes the syntax, and it allows, you know, the reader to kind of get a sense of how she feels. I'm never as small as I remember. And there's that sense of the pausing of reality as she shifts from the memory and then back to the current reality. I think that also ties back into the idea that she can never escape from this moonlight creature and the presence that was her auntie Gloria Matthews. There's a lot of repetition throughout this poem. I'm watching you watch me, voice, 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 turned, turned, blood in the soil, blood is the soil, blood gift to soil, might, the, like, and how you. I feel like it really gives a musicality to the poem and allows it to flow as one, you know, may resemble a childhood story or even the Dreamtime stories. I feel like it kind of gives the same vibe, for a better word, but I feel like it really brings you back to how she might have felt as a kid being taught by Gloria Matthews, and, you know, Gloria Matthews' strife for education within Aboriginal children, and how that stereotype is perceived in modern society. And yeah, handing you over to Mrs. B.
Hi, so I'm back. So for our supplementary reading, we got a page off of Mythlock, which is all about Bahloo and what he does. Bahloo is a character from the Gamma Ray mythology, which Gamma Ray mythology does connect with Dreamtime, but they are two different things, but they often do overlap. Bahloo is seen as this significant figure of wisdom associated with moods, death, life, galaxy, environment, living in harmony, as well as good aura. Yet what he does has changed over the years. In the start, as well as he still does now, he influences water, and as well as he influences dreams and deaths. Often when you're having dreams of people who have passed on, it's Bahloo constructing these, making you think about him, Bahloo, making you think about the person who has passed on and all that they have done, the positives, helping you. Bahloo is a figure that helps you overcome grief and helps you move on. Bahloo's power nowadays, this was not as much so in the background, but in the modern day, because Bahloo does what is needed. Ever since the Stolen Generation, as well as lots of other disgusting things have impacted the First Nations, Bahloo's powers are more focused to environmental conservation and cultural revitalization. He tries to help people come more connected back into their First Nations land and their heritage, as well as conserving the environment that has been destroyed. You can also see this relates back to the poem strongly with her auntie showing Evelyn her ways back into the land and how she can find her way back and bring those pieces with her, as well as helping her connect to the land and save that land. When Bahloo comes in a physical form, he is come in as an emu. Emus are obviously the national Australian animal. And as well as emus can only ever walk forward, they cannot walk backwards. This is another symbolization of how Bahloo helps lead people forward. He doesn't hold them back. He helps them move on. So when he is in physical self as an emu, his eyes reflect the cosmos and celestial power. His eyes are basically the galaxy, which is again relates very deeply into the poem with how so much is talked about. The galaxy, the stars, the moon. It's Bahloo showing you everything about her great auntie Gloria Matthews, as well as everything that she has done and has given to.
Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this.
And go check out our last video on...